There is a place and a time for every sound. And in some rare moments you come across a certain sound in just the right moment in your life. A track that shifts something inside you, a track that changes your perception of music. Forever. Until the mid-2010s, Paris' electronic music scene and its outside perception were largely defined by French house, the Headbanger label, and iconic figures like Daft Punk, Justice or Laurent Garnier. I never felt much of a connection to this sound, as my taste leaned more towards techno. Yet even the Berlin sound, shaped by Berghain and its surroundings, never quite felt like home to me either. It was often too functional, lacking the depth of emotion I didn't know yet I was searching for. When I was 18 years old, I discovered a record that changed everything. It opened the door to a genre that never fully took off, but carried immense potential and a distinct identity. Between 2013 and 2018, the music born from this movement left a lasting imprint on me as an artist, shaping my understanding of texture, rhythm, and timbre. This sound emerged from a small but dedicated group of artists in the Parisian underground who, despite the city's then limited scene, collectively pushed boundaries. A single club played a crucial role in putting Paris back on the map of underground electronic music scene. At its core, this movement was driven by two key figures. These two also named Berghain and related artists as their influences. But their sound developed something new from it.
So basically, at the beginning, I was more into this black, really black American dance music. And then Ben Clark arrived with his Clockwork's first records. And in Paris, it had a huge impact with me and my colleagues.
And let's say there was an attraction around all this techno sound because it was a new techno sound from Berghain, all those producers like Oscar Mulero, Neil, Voices from the Lake.
Yet their approach was fresh, unique and deeply expressive. The intricate, hyper-detailed percussion brought a level of complexity never heard before in techno, both in rhythmic composition and sound design, while the melancholic pads pushed emotional and timbre depth further than anyone had before. Together they defined a sound that was both rhythmically groundbreaking and profoundly moving, a style that emerged during a pivotal phase in Antigone's journey.
Something happened when I was 20. I had a big depression. And this big depression made myself stuck into my room for almost 6 months. And it really helped me in a way because the only escape for me was music. So I was like, you know what, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling so bad. I mean, I was going back and forth to the hospital and everything. And I was like, you know what, the only escape is the music. Your dream is really to be a producer and a DJ. What I've learned in 6 months was probably 2 years of work. So this is how, and when I came out from this 6 months of depression, one friend of mine, Suleiman, introduced me to Brice from Concrete. And at that time, I just released my first release on Construct Reform.
In 2015 marked the year Antigone's sound entered the global techno spectrum with his first release on the Belgian label Token. At the time, Token represented the absolute pinnacle of quality in techno, curating a roster of the most unique and boundary-pushing artists who were truly evolving the genre. With a regular presence at Berghain club nights, it became a proving ground for cutting-edge sound design and innovation. Antigone's debut on the label solidified his place among these visionaries, marking a turning point where his sound became more distinctive, more confident. His vision unmistakable. Everything began to fall into place. Paris now had two key figures, Antigone and François X, along with Concrete, the club that became the new epicenter for this evolving sound. A crucial force in shaping this sound was the label DEMENT3D, founded by François X and Heartbeat, which became a hub for forward-thinking textual techno in Paris. Through releases from artists like Inertia, Wojski and in Eternam Veil, the label pushed the boundaries of rhythm and atmosphere, laying the foundation for deeply intricate and melancholic aesthetic that defined this era. It was only natural that these two artists would collaborate, and the result was We Move as One. Not an EP, not an album, but for me a statement. A project that gave rise to one of the most beautiful works to date, Journey Home. A track that goes incredibly deep. Between 2013 and 2018, a sound emerged that was so innovative, deep, melancholic and rich in texture, a sound with a unique identity and a high recognition value, something I rarely found in music. I was so captivated that I had to dive in. I wanted to understand how to produce it, how to play it. I read every interview, analyzed every studio photo for clues. This sound had two sides, melodic and beautiful, yet powerful and club-oriented. But its defining characteristics were always melancholy and darkness.
I want to play a music that is bringing a lot of deep emotion. I don't want to say like obvious emotion, but deep emotion like that has a lot of character, you know?
The most striking and at the same time strangest thing I learned, especially for techno, was that the kick drum wasn't the centerpiece. Today's techno often revolves around heavy kicks and rawness, whereas Parisian techno treated the kick as secondary, buried beneath layers of intricate grooves. Almost everything pulsed, waves of sonic textures, elevated by ethereal pads, melodies and expressive percussion. Compared to modern techno, the Parisian sound was more minimal, focusing on subtle details.
It was more like a minimalistic techno at that point. And so it was kind of an era of minimal techno, I call it. But it's not really minimal techno. People were going to kill me if I say that. But for me, it sounded a bit more minimalistic and a lot of textures.
Let's break down a few key elements I discovered while making this sound. Let's switch locations to my studio. Compared to today's techno, it was much slower, yet felt incredibly fast, almost like a rush. Everything was a moving texture. Even the reverb wasn't just a tool for space, but an integral part of the sound design. The speed was created by small, fast microgrooves. No main hits like upfront, powerful claps, but rather detailed sound in small, fast, repetitive patterns that gave speed. Moreover, the bass line is much more important than the kick drum. Everything rolls. The kick drum plays a secondary role. Often the 808 was used, which was deformed and, thanks to its rich character, brought a lot of punch. The main groove was created by texture, small bleep sounds, layers of noise and unconventional sounds that make you wonder what this even is. Percussion were exactly what made this genre so special. It wasn't used for the main groove. It was as if someone had simply reconsidered the meaning of it and said, "You're now a feeling, a special thing." Through interviews, I found out that these were often created with the mono machine. In combination with harmony effects like the pitch factor and various delays in a chain, it was a technique to create magic. At this time, Felix and I were so in love with the sound that we had to showcase it in our hometown. So we started booking artists like Antigone, François X, AWB and Heartbeat. It also had an influence in our own productions, and later we released a collaborative track on the Parisian label Blockhouse along genre titans like Oscar Molero, Function and Surgeon, which was an ultimate full circle moment for us on our journey. 2018, Antigone released his magnum opus, Rising, on Token Records. For me, this was the peak. The essence of the sound had never been so clearly defined. Every aspect and possibility of the genre was explored, moody and melancholic, yet fast and exhilarating, with percussion and sound design at an unmatched level. This album could have easily fit on Warped Records, showcasing an individuality and finesse rarely heard in techno. I was certain this sound was about to reshape the entire techno landscape, setting new trends and directions. But then nothing happened. No major response from the techno community, no further releases, just silence. Antigone shifted towards hard techno, François X followed. The sound I loved so much disappeared overnight. Paris moved on, with new frontrunners like Shlomo and Anita, embracing a style I no longer felt connected to. And of course, the question remains, how did this happen?
Like, this is the moment where I felt like I wanted to change a bit my sound, and also the moment where I started to lose a bit myself, because when you want to change, you're searching for something, but you don't really know where you're going to.
In 2019, Concrete closed, trends shifted, and the sound quietly vanished. A few weeks ago, Antigone announced the end of his career. It left me feeling nostalgic about the sound that defined my early 20s, leading me to create this video. Between 2013 and 2018, a handful of artists unknowingly embarked on something bigger, crafting a sound that had never existed before. The last time I truly felt connected to it was in 2019, when François X played at our final party in my hometown, closing the night with Journey Home.